Isla Nublar, the island that was the home of both Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, was a location where several different species of dinosaurs were documented to have lived in the series canon. However, with each sequel that has been released into the series, this list of animals grows far more complicated and far less clear to the audience. Recently, Season 3 of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous has introduced yet another new species to the park, after already teasing a previously unseen creature just a few weeks earlier. Now, this new dinosaur is known as the Ouranosaurus, a duck-billed herbivore that has been visually compared to the way more aggressive Spinosaur. And with the animal's inclusion comes a whole lot of changes to what fans can expect to see in the franchise going forward. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about the Ouranosaurus inclusion in the recently released clip from Season 3 of Camp Cretaceous. So previously, just a few days ago, we had no idea this animal was on the island, like, at all. But now, we know that it is not only going to be showing up in the timeline of Isla Nublar sometime in 2016, but it's also taking part in a pretty interesting scene where it goes after one of the campers in a more aggravated state. Anytime we get to see an herbivore attack somebody, I think it's pretty awesome. Particularly in a scene like this where everything is very moody and visually different to what we've seen before in the past. However, with this dinosaur's inclusion comes a lot of questions by fans who've been closely following the series, like, why didn't we see it on the island in the fourth film, Jurassic World? Or the fifth film, Fallen Kingdom, or even earlier episodes of Camp Cretaceous? Well, the reason so many people ask this question is because there actually was a list of dinosaurs that was advertised to the public for Jurassic World back in 2015. And nowhere on that list did it list this species anywhere. Now, that's not to say that this is a brand new thing that hasn't happened before, because in truth, this has been going on ever since The Lost World. You see, in Jurassic Park, Nedry is paid to deliver all 15 species of dinosaur off of the island, and on the Jurassic Park brochure that was released for the first movie, just like the website was for Jurassic World, it clearly gave a list of all of the animals you could see in Jurassic Park. Well then, The Lost World came around, and it gave us new animals not included in that list, like Plesiosaurus and Compsognathus. Lost World was, however, set on a separate island though, so they kind of had a little bit of leeway in all due respect. But then we got Jurassic Park 3, which continued to show off new species, only this time they gave us the cryptic line that some of these new animals, namely the Spinosaurus, were not on, quote, InGen's list, and in other words, cloned without the knowledge of anyone outside of the company knowing about it, which was really just a way to handwave that new dinosaur's existence in JP3 and explain why nobody saw it in The Lost World. But that line of dialogue has stuck with fans for over 20 years and made things both a bit more expansive in the lore, but also more convoluted in the long run. When Jurassic World came out, they gave a list of all of the dinosaurs on the island just like Jurassic Park, but then Fallen Kingdom came out and added Carnotaurus, Stygimoloch, and Sinoceratops. Then Battle at Big Rock came out and added Pseudoceratops, which brings us all the way back to Camp Cretaceous, where there actually was a line of dialogue added to help explain why we didn't see the Carno listed anywhere, and possibly other species as well, in the previous entries, which had to do with the animal's higher level of aggression when compared to many of the other dinosaurs, which kept them away from the park's public. But now, just a couple of seasons later, and both Monolophosaurus and Ouranosaurus are getting introduced to the audience in a way that hasn't been explained just yet. Ouranosaurus, by the way, is an animal that was actually first introduced on Isla Nublar back in the mid-90s comic book series made by Topps, where one of the dinosaurs follows park workers Derek and Abby in a story involving a mad scientist named Gustavus. I know a lot of people will just equate its earlier Jurassic Park sightings to Operation Genesis, but this animal's actually been introduced way before that game ever came out. It just wasn't actually in the timeline. Now, Jurassic World technically does have a back door to releasing new species on the island that some people have pointed out, and that's the fact that the famous Holoscape in the Innovation Center showcased some species that hadn't been on the officially released list to the public. This included animals such as the Plesiosaurus and the Spinosaurus, among others. But I think the main reason we can take the Ouranosaurus and even the Monolophosaurus inclusions in Season 3 as being something of an importance to this series is the fact that they're now totally out there and easy to find, and you can't really say anything else about it. I think the real reason we're getting new species is actually kind of simple and just has to do with the executives sitting around and thinking about what kinds of new dinosaurs they could put in new Jurassic World material. Instead of actually going by any sort of predetermined list of creatures or even making one concrete list for themselves, they've instead opted to just introduce whatever they want whenever they want, which frees them up from having to limit their species, but also changes what was previously understood about the wider lore for hardcore fans. Now, this isn't really what I'd call a net negative or anything like that, but it does sort of take away from the importance of the Jurassic World website list that was made in 2015, which coincidentally is kind of impossible for me to get to anymore in the modern day. So yeah, maybe that shouldn't be taken as the end-all be-all of lore these days anyhow. So what other species existed on Isla Nublar? Well, honestly, we don't know, and we may never know in all seriousness, which makes guesses for what new species we can expect to see even more wide than ever before. Which is pretty exciting to see, but this also is something that has totally rearranged how a lot of us view the park in general right now. There could be literally anything out there on Nublar at this given point in time. In fact, there could be anything anywhere in the Jurassic Park universe in my personal opinion. But hey, that's just what I think. Now, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my parkers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing me again. See you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.